to give this once a month to just kind of give people an idea of what's really going on in the marketplace for interest. For point, the interest rates right now are the second highest they've been in 20 years. So what? Wow. So you ask yourself, well, how is that affecting the market? It's affecting the market two ways. Number one, that people who were thinking about selling are not going to want to sell right now because they want to hold on to their 3.5, 4%, 2.9% interest rate, and they just can't make themselves sell their house and go up until a 6 or almost 7% interest rate. The second thing that's happening is because the interest rates are so high, is that it is cutting down on the buying power on the purchasing side. So in other words, someone who might have been able to afford a house 3 years ago, that same person now can't afford a house because the interest rates have more than doubled in just a couple of years. So they can't afford the house that they could have afforded a couple of years ago. So a lot of people out there right now, they're not depressed, but they're upset with themselves because I didn't take the time to get my credit score right when the interest rates were low. I thought everything was going to stay the same and I'd be able to get it right. And they misprioritize short-term satisfaction for long-term stability. You see, and that's one of the things that happens to us in society. We'll be so concerned about the short term sometimes we forget about the long term. But what is happening is that people now, what they're doing is, still got people buying houses, but they're buying it because they want the stability, because they don't want to keep on suffering with the rent increases. And they can see what's happening. The prices, what's happening is you paying more for a house that's smaller. And that trend is going to continue. Another thing that we saw was the average days on the market. Say, for instance, for last year, it took 39 days to get a house sold. Now it only takes 21 days. So that tells you that it's a little less inventory, but it's also a harder market because you still got people trying to buy a house. And the months of inventory is still down. We're floating right at about 2 months of inventory. So what that means, Glenn, is that if no new houses came on the market today, in 2 months we'd be out of houses. Okay. If no new markets come on the market in 2 months, we would be out of houses. So it's very important to look at that number on a regular basis because that's the number that tells us how hard it's going to be for us as an agent to find a property for you. Now once we are working with somebody, we drill down on that number even lower. So for instance, like if you're trying to find something below 300 right now, that number is even lower. It's like 1.25. It's just no inventory. You get down below 150, somebody called wanting to buy a house and they could qualify for 150. I got to tell them, you ready to go to Avon Park or Frostproof? You got to go down to the south. Yeah. You got to go to South Polk County to find anything in that price range right there. Another thing that we noticed this month is that, you still have people think about, well, I want to buy a foreclosure. I want to buy a foreclosure because they heard that foreclosures were coming. Foreclosures were coming. Right. And foreclosures haven't got here. So right now we have about 19 foreclosed properties available in all of Orange County. Now think about it. That's the whole county. You got
Orange County's huge.
You only have 19 foreclosed properties in the whole county. So if you're going to try to concentrate on foreclosed properties, you are severely limiting an already limited marketplace. You see what I mean? So sometimes I have to, when I teach first-time home buyer classes, and we're teaching one tomorrow, we have to tell people they have to put on their own real estate cap. You know, when you're driving down the street and you see a dumpster in front of a house and you see people rehabbing a house and you're okay with that community, or you know somebody in your office is looking to buy a house and you've been hearing their frustrations, you need to write down that address for them. Give them that address, go over there, talk with that investor, find out what they're going to be selling that house for, and you might be able to get that house under contract before it's even finished and avoid the marketplace.
We got to put on our realtor's cap.
You got to put on your real estate cap sometime. And I tell people that. And, you know, you and I have talked about this before over the years. You know, when you're hearing somebody talking about, well, you know, John and Susie getting a divorce, you need to ask them, wonder what they're going to do with the house.
You can't say that, Harry.
Yes, you can. That's what you need to say. That's what you need to say. I wonder what they're going to do with the house. Is one of them going to keep it or are they going to sell it? You know, I like that house, you know. And even more difficult one to deal with, Glenn, but it's for real.
Okay.
Is when somebody is deceased, somebody passes. You know, and like Miss Betty down the street.
Put your real estate cap on.
Yeah, she dies. And all her family is from North Carolina or South Carolina. They come down, they're not going to want to keep that house. So you need to go down and be friendly with them and say, you know, hey, you know, I know Miss Betty. I used to do this with Miss Betty. We used to walk. You know, I really would like to buy this house. You have to turn the tables on the inventory. You see what I mean? So when you see inventory, you have to take advantage of it. You see somebody cutting grass on a property that has been overgrown. Well, that might be your opportunity to find out who the owner is, how to get in contact. Stop and talk to the yard man. You know? And the thing that I'm trying to get you to do, audience, is just don't do it for you. Do it for other people. You know, when you in lunch and you in the cafeteria, in the break room, and you got 2 or 3 people talking about houses, man, I wish I could find something. You got so many people frustrated. Help them out. If you happen to drive by and you see one of these situations, go ahead and help them out. Another thing we've noticed in the marketplace, Glenn, is that check this out.
Well,
The interest rate right now is 6.84. Last year, it was 5.35. In 2021, it was 2.83. So you can see it going up, 2.8 to 5.5 to 6.8. And guess what? The Fed say they're not through.
Yep, they said they were trying to fight inflation.
Yeah, but it's interesting. You know, it's like the story they tell of the guy who repairs glass. And his son wanted a new bike. Dad say, I ain't had no business lately. So he gets up 3 o'clock in the morning at night and sneaks out the window and gets a bag of rocks and go around and break windows everywhere. so now,
creating the business.
Creating the business. Yeah. So sometimes that's the way it is. But I just wanted you to understand the months of supply that's out there. And so it's very important that you put your cap on. And also when you're working with a realtor, you want to make sure they have access to properties that are not on the market, that are not on the MLS, so that you had an opportunity to get to them beforehand. For instance, we just had one that we sold, and we put the property among our group of people, and we got the property sold in great time at a great price for that particular buyer. So if you want to know more about the market or you like this free market report, hey, just give us a call at 407-654-2626, and I'll be sure and send it to you.